And welcome to League De NuTz headquarters. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, and wish you a happy holidays as we have more than hit the home stretch. We've hit the back end. It is crunch time of the 2018 fantasy football season. We head into week 12, then the finale in week 13. It's hard to believe, as fast as this year has gone, for at least for myself personally, the League De NuTz season has gone that much quicker. Feels like yesterday we were setting up the draft, right? Here we are with 2 weeks left. Crunch time. Some of you are live and, well, you're sitting pretty. Polk high. You're in. How about that? Some of you are on the fence. Others checking your pulse, seeing if you have some beats going. A little bit on life support. Just alive. Some of you are dead. As we mentioned last week, Keldy was the first one to be mathematically eliminated. But for the most part, we have parity going into the next to last week of the season. So we'll get to the scoreboard from week 11, preview week 12, give you some news and notes here in the Commissioner's Corner to start it off. And the first thing I want to talk about is a trade. Mentioned yesterday, a trade deadline. Talk about everything just going so quick. Trade line just sneaks up on you, and you're like, wow, November 21st is here. One trade went through today. Interesting trade. David Johnson, Adam Thielen, traded from Thielen Groovy. Now, Thielen Groovy, you're going to have to change the name. You just can't trade the guy who the team is named after and keep the team name. So, be curious to see if it just becomes Groovy or he takes another name. It'd be interesting. You can even make a Craig Morton Groovy if you wanted to. Craig Morton, why? I don't know. How about that? Meanwhile, Lights, Kamara, Action. They made the trade, swapped those two out, did Thielen Groovy. In return, Marlon Mack, Chris Godson, and Julian Edelman. Very, very interesting. You get the home run hitters with Johnson, although he's not been the same as he used to be. Thielen, no doubt about it. Guy's one of the greats in the game. As long as the numbers average out, when you average everyone's cumulative numbers, and they average out, so it's like 42 points a game, I'm cool with that. But it is interesting because Lights, Kamara, Action, I'll talk about the rookie and his team. They've won 5 straight. They really are going for broke, shaking up the roster, but I'm a big believer in everything, especially in fantasy football. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll get into that. But interesting, the big trade of the season, really the only trade. I've never seen a trade in the almost 10 years of League De NuTz history that has altered a team's run. Maybe this is it. I know yours truly, a few years ago, pre-Super Bowl MVP, I traded for Nick Foles and gave away a first-round draft pick, and it wound up being a bust. I did that with the Yonkers Shotgunners, and that, I believe, was 4 years ago. Neither of us made the playoffs. We doomed ourselves from week 1. This comes at crunch time at the deadline. Trade goes through. I threw out some blockbusters out there. I was dangling Keenan Allen to smash you. Dangled Emmanuel Sanders to Polk High School. See what I can get. Both of them respectfully declined that would-be blockbuster trades. So it's interesting to see what comes in at trade deadline. Now, the announcement I wanted to make is heading into next year, I may change some settings so we can trade future draft picks, which I think would make things interesting. Say you wanted to trade a guy right now and get a number 1 for him next year in the draft. I think it could open things up and make things very interesting, especially heading into the offseason. I am thinking about putting back the keeper. Thinking about that. And what I think is I'll let you guys decide what to do with the keeper. I'll put a poll out there, and I was thinking we just make it by Super Bowl. You guys vote for the keeper for next season. So democracy wins out. We have about 2 months thereabouts. So let's put the keeper back there. And that would be interesting, too, to be able to perhaps do some off-season stuff where you can swap a keeper and a draft pick for a keeper and a draft pick and so on and so forth. But I think it would make things interesting. I like the trades personally. It'd be interesting to see if Kamara adds these home run hitters or he shakes the roster and shouldn't have fixed what wasn't broken. We shall see. Welcome to League De NuTz headquarters. Again, I'm Matt Levine, the commissioner for League De NuTz, 10 years. And the winner of this year's 10th anniversary in League De NuTz will get one of these guys. Look how beautiful that is. That, I believe, is Keldy's first League De NuTz trophy. That's last year's winners, Dinglings. I mentioned it last week. I didn't have the picture for reference, but look at that. Proudly displayed with beautiful pictures of his family, and bam, right there in the corner, right corner on your screen, you see that beautiful Nuts Cup. Interesting. So one of us is going to have the chance to put that on their mantelpiece or wherever you want to put it, like Nings did, proudly displayed in your house. It's right here. We are dawning upon the homiest of home stretches. Crunch time. We'll see who's a champ, who's a chump, and what everyone is made of as we head into week 12. So I touched on the keepers, touched on the potential of trading draft picks. Big trade today at the deadline. Now let's get into the weeds and take a look at the scoreboard in week 12. The beatdown was given by one of the siblings. We had a couple of sibling bowls last week. Everything can be a bowl. I'm going to slide bowl in front of back at just about everything this broadcast. You'll see. It just fits in nicely, doesn't it? Sibling beatdown in the sibling bowl. Polk High School against Sheriff Clark, 168-187. I don't know how you stop 52 points from Pat Mahomes. 6 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions, but 478 yards, and he's only a rookie. Setting the records and making it look easy. Cool, calm, composed, collective, all the C's. Quadruple C's right there. Kenny Galladay. Great pickup. 37 points. Continues to do big things for Polk High School. They are 9-2. They lock up the top seed for the playoffs. How about that, Polk High School? Great job as they take care of business, as one of my old bosses, may he rest in peace, Carl Renee Darwin in Eunice, Louisiana, used to say business. Sheriff Clark, tough year for them, 3-8. I'll talk more about them in their matchup in week 12 as we go on with this week in League De NuTz. Keldar, snake bitten. But he was able to play spoiler against his brother, wins his sibling bowl, big time. Good win for Keldar. 191-113. I will say this for Keldar. It's kind of the season. If this went 15 weeks, he'd have a chance because he's got a lot of talent. It's just a matter of it firing on all cylinders, which it did last week. And interestingly enough, Keldar gets 43 from Diggs, 40 from Barkley. I love both of those guys. Besides being great fantasy players, just humble kids. They give you hope. They really do. I don't mean to sound like an old geezer with all these kids and all their rock and roll these days, but I'm very quick to point on the millennials and to bash them in today's generation. I'm as quick as anyone. But when you see young guys like this, just gentlemen of the game, they respect it. They're humble. They earn their pay. I love both of them. 43 points for Diggs, 40 for Barkley, 138 on the bench for Keldar. Too little, too late. Yours truly, I rely on wide receivers. I'll talk about that more later. Keenan Allen, 23 points. Ain't going to do it. 8 points on the bench. I've talked about my lack of depth all season. Same old. SOS in week 11. Feeling Groovy and Loopy. 113. How about that? I was thinking as I prepared for this, I didn't have the bat phone ready. It's over here. The other end. I was trying to get in touch with the Elias Sports Bureau. They just wouldn't pick up. I had my phone ready. They didn't pick up. I wanted to ask them how many ties there have been in League NuTz history. I gave our crack staff the weekend off. Elias, I can usually call on them. They're not around. I'm guessing the over-under would be about 5. I'd go for the over. I'd say there's probably been about 5.5, 6. 113 all, a bench. Tie goes to the bench. So a bench winner was declared 50-36. Thiel and Groovy over Loopy on the bench. And the interesting thing is, okay, I do my own research. Alex Smith gets 4 points. We all know what happened to him. I wish him the best. Crazy enough, 33 years to the date when Lawrence Taylor took out Joe Theismann. I remember the day like yesterday. I remember the game vividly, watching it as a teenager. So they get 4 points, and I wish Alex Smith the best. He's another one of those guys. Quiet, under the radar, consummate professional. You hope he can come back. I don't know. He's in his mid-30s already. Debilitating injury, to say the least. Theismann never, ever played on the field again. Remember Lawrence Taylor calling over the medics? Anyway, 4 points from Smith. Brandon LaFell had 10 points, okay? So the bench winner wins by 14. You take Smith and LaFell, 4 plus 10, you get your 14. LaFell also injured for the season, a bad one, an Achilles tendon. So go figure. Interesting where that 14 came from. 4. Thiel and Groovy, who pulled off the trade, they're on life support as well, 4 and 7. We'll talk more about them un momento. Florida Mermanators, the rookies, spanking the Yankee shotgun is there. 232, 155. Wow, big win. Rookie continues to impress. 4 guys over 35 points. 63 for Tyreek Hill. Put it in the books, as Gary Cohn would say for the Mets, or Howie Rose, one of those two guys. That's their catchphrase, right? 10-15, meaning 10 catches, 215, and 2 touchdowns for Tyreek Hill, number 10, who is just fabulous. Meanwhile, interesting decisions for Yonkers. They rode that Mitch Trubisky hot train there for a while, didn't they? Sat Breeze last week. Breeze goes off 43. Trubisky 16. And there's something else about Yonkers that made me say, It looked at who they started for defense. Only 3 points on defense. Excuse me. The worst ranked defense in the National Football League, the Buccaneers against the Giants. How do you start them, Yonkers? Bucks allow 38 points to the Giants in, in the victory. Okay, the 5th matchup in week number 11. It was Smash, the hottest team in the league. 3 straight for Smash. Also has won a League De NuTz championship. They have a Nuts Cup proudly displayed in their home. I saw the picture with my own 2 eyes. 6 and 5 for Smash. They did the smackdown on Clark Kent, 171-156. T.Y. Hilton off the injured list and alive in the nick of time, 53 points. Russell Wilson, 23 points. Nice game for the win over Clark Kent. I looked at their quarterback and did a when I looked at the stats, like the double and a half double take. 0 points for Carson Wentz. 3 interceptions in a loss in New Orleans. So interesting there for Clark Kent. They finally get enough offensive skilled players to mix in with all those defensive players they auto-drafted. Carson Wentz gets healthy. Carson Wentz gives you a bagel, goose egg, donut. Which one do I like best? If I had to pick the term I like best, I'd say I like the goose egg. Works best. Anyway, Loopies over Dingstown. I'm sorry, Lights Camera action over Dingstown. The final 152-145. As Lights Kamara, I mentioned them, 5 straight, shakes it up with the trade. 7 and 4, Dingstown, defending champ in 2nd place in his division, 3rd place in back of these 2, Merminator and Lights, who are tied in Shoreham Drive East. Michael Thomas, a tame 10 points. Finally slowed down a little bit for Dingstown. It seems like he puts up 200 every week. TJ Yeldon, only 4 points. That was a difference maker because on the other side of things, Lights, 7 guys in double figures. Aaron Jones, 27 points. Easily wins that running back matchup. Had 103 yards from scrimmage for the Green Bay Packers. So big win there by Lights Kamara action as we go through the scoreboard last week. Tomorrow, of course, is Thanksgiving. I wish, again, everyone a great Thanksgiving as I gave you my happy holidays. Hello in the opening of this week in League De NuTz. As a reminder, set those lineups. Okay? Someone's calling here. As a reminder, set those lineups. Chicago will play Detroit, 12:30 kickoff. Skins play the Cowgirls, 4:30. And the Saints and Falcons will tangle at 8:20 tomorrow night. So if you have any of those 6 teams involved in the 3 respective matchups, get them in tomorrow. Get your players in tonight, and don't get too carried away with the feast you're about to eat tomorrow. Okay? Don't let your eyes be bigger than your stomach in making decisions for your fantasy football team. Just wait for it tomorrow. Be patient, but set your lineup. Any problems, give me a call. I'll be around tomorrow. So let me know. As again, 3 games tomorrow. They begin at 12:30. The game in Detroit and in Dallas, those are the 2 that have been there since the beginning of time. I know a few years ago, in the last decade or so, they've added the night game. I always thought 2 was enough, but it's kind of cool. Come out of the food coma and watch your respective teams battle. Let's talk about the Battle of the Haganah that will go on. Yonkers, 6-5. Going to take on yours truly, the Nutztown Destroyers. My only play is a win this week and hope that I can stay alive in week 13. I won, and I win the tiebreaker against Yonkers. Let's see here. And make sure that this is coming on good as I'm getting text, so... Oh, cool. Okay. As I win the show's on, so that's good. As I win the tiebreaker against Yonkers and I can keep my season alive, Yonkers is a +11 favorite in this game. Yonkers by 21 in week 3. In that game, they had Ryan Fitzpatrick was his quarterback, and that was when Fitz was kind of cool, right? I guess. That was probably one of the great moments of the NFL season thus far, at least off the field. Fitzpatrick had 35 points. Trubisky and Breeze now the quarterback situation for Yonkers. Touched on that. For me, it's been about Emmanuel Sanders, DeAndre Hopkins, Allen, those 3 wide receivers week in and week out. I live and die by them, as well as Jarvis Landry. For Yonkers, quarterback situation settled. Gurley, Mixon. Another guy, Adam Humphries, has come on late. So the point being, I've relied on pretty much the same team all year. Yonkers has made some switches in and out, and they've had to rely on different guys. However, I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to win. I'm going to the last week of the season. That's what it's all about, at least for me. If you're not going to make the playoffs, at least take it to the final week of the season. So that's a Battle of Haganah right there. It's my only play, is the division title. Last year, I got into the finals as a wild card. My record, 6-7. I was 4-7 at this time last year, so anything is possible. Luca Brasi matchup. Feeling groovy against Smash U. Smash 17-point favorite. Groovy. Feeling kind of crazy because they're switching their team around. We'll see if it leads to win 4-7. Smash 6-5. Again, the hottest team in the league. I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. 3 straight games they've won. They have a core 4. Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon, T.Y. Hilton, okay? And Amani Cooper. At least you're hoping that Cooper makes up that core 4 and can be the guy to carry them over the top in the crunch time for Smash U. We'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. He's been up and down so far in Dallas. Only 6 points last week. And then I think he had 13 and 16 respectively in his 3 games. So we'll see if he can be the guy to make up the core 4 for Smash. These 2 played earlier in the season. Smash was a winner. 148-93. I think Smash gets the win in this one. They're hot. Watch out right now. See if Smash can win their second title in League De NuTz history. Loopy's Legends. 2-time winner, right? In League De NuTz history. It's been a while since the Loopsters gotten to celebrate a Nuts Cup. They'll take on Polk High School, their only matchup of the season. Loopy will get Tom Brady back. That's the good news. They get a red-hot Odell Beckham. Suddenly, Eli Manning with the offensive line has a red-hot wide receiver. Now, the bad news is for Polk, and there hasn't been much bad news, and it really isn't that bad news. If you're going to pick a week to have the hottest players in the NFL take a bye, you have your 1-2 punch of Hunt and Mahomes on Kansas City that get a breather. Doesn't really hurt Loopies. It doesn't really hurt Polk. Helps Loopies. Loopies a 5-point favorite. I think they collect the win with those two big guns on vacation this week. Dings will take on Keldar. Keldar, the chance to play the ultimate spoiler again. Defending champ, 6-5. Third place in Shoreham Drive East, but alive and well for a possible playoff berth. Bad news for Dingstown. No Goff. No Woods. Even the KC kicker who averages 10 points will be on bye. Keldy, all ready to go. Guys like Quan, Juju, Diggs, all in the stable, fresh, ready to run. Let's take a look, by the way, at the standings, and then we'll get into the last couple matchups. So, League De NuTz standings right now. You see Yonkers again ahead of me. I mentioned my play. Top left corner, the Haganah, up by 2. Keldy's out of it, down by 3. Bottom left, Hurley Roper, over. You see Polkai wins it. Mention that. Top right, Shoreham Drive East. Fun. Florida Merminators, 7-4. Lights Camera, 7-4. Dingstown, who I was just talking about, they are 6-5. Luca Brazia. You got your nice division there with Smash U leading the pack, 6-5. Loopy, 6-5. Feeling groovy, 4-7. Playoff bracket looks like this right now. See Mighty Dodge, Polkai. You can never forget what Al Bundy drove, what his job was. He would be the top seed. Lights, second seed, down at the bottom would be Merminators. Third seed would be Yonkers. Dingstown follows. Smash U, and Lights Kamara Action. So those are your 6 as of right now. As things are, again, very interesting in League De NuTz. Sheriff Clark will take on Clark Kent. This is the Clark Bowl. Told you, put bowl and back anything. It sounds great in football. Sheriff injuries. Just not his year. 3-8 for a reason. Sorry, guy. AJ Green. Messi Marvin. Out. Kerryon Johnson. Out. Injured. The Le'Veon Bell factor. Talked about it last week. 40-point underdog for Sheriff. There's no way they lose that badly. In fact, I'll take Sheriff to win. How about that? And finally, the Rookie Bowl. Lights Kamara Action will take on the Florida Merminators. 33-point favorite for the Merms. Week 2, Merminators win by 20, 165-145. How? Big Ben, 49 points. Pretty much same deal going on this week. You got Big Ben, Antonio, Mike Evans for Merminator. You got their big 3. I talked about Lights Kamara Action, 5-game win streak. They made the big deal for Johnson and Thielen. It's a new look. We'll see what happens. There's no way they lose by 33, but I think Merminator wins the Rookie Bowl and gets a clean sweep. So that's what's going on this week in League De NuTz. We had a full show. I'm sure you're going to fill up tomorrow on lots of goodies. I wish you and your family, whoever you're celebrating Thanksgiving with, a good holiday. I hope everyone enjoys week 12. We got week 13 right around the corner. Much to discuss next week. Get the votes in. I'll put the poll up there for the keepers in 2019. By the way, the poll that's been up there since about a month, 5-6 weeks, month and a half ago. Which member of the Jersey Shore cast does Keldar most remind you of? Majority ruled. Angelina. How about that? Tell you a secret. I voted for Angelina. There you go. 3 votes for Angelina. Who would ever thunk it? Angelina wins. I think Snooki was a close second, I think, or Vinny. Anyway, enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Enjoy the football. And I wish your team the best of luck. Buena suerte in Week 12 as the League De NuTz season hits crunch time. I'm Matt Levine saying happy holidays. I will catch you next week in This Week in League De NuTz. By the way, next week, we may be able to finally bring you an in-studio guest. And this week, I'll also recap you on the Meltzy. Forgot about that. I'm a little bit behind. Almost have just about half the money in, so you guys hustle. I'll get you my address or the PayPal, and we'll take care of that. But again, have a great holiday. I'm out of here. Enjoy the NFL football and enjoy the fantasy football as we hit the very end of the League De NuTz season. Hard to believe. I'm telling you. Late.